First off, I want to say shalom, salam, assalamu alaikum, hotep, black power, whatever's your favorite. The Nanesh, Akamjata, and Kamelahi. I've been with Knox and Queens, I'm feeling it in. Yes, I pray, I believe in the truth and the planting of these seeds. Yeah, yes, I pray, I believe in the impossible things that's unseen. Yeah, yes, I pray, I believe.
Shalom, kulam. Welcome to 2026. According to the Gregorian calendar, we know that our new year starts March, April, starts in Abib. But, it's also Black History Month, February 1st, 2026. So welcome. And I just want to start this off with my official Bysa biblical stance. Okay, so I'm just trying to do something different this year. And I'm trying to do stuff in a certain order. So it's a certain flow. All right. So I'm just going to actually get into some of the things where we're at now, because we're kind of evolving here. All right. So this is Bysa biblical stance. All right. I just want to share something that I received some clarity personally within my stance biblically. I don't believe in religion or follow the three Abrahamic religions. So I don't follow Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. But in context, I do believe, read, and follow the Torah, laws, instructions, Nebi'im, prophets, Ketubim, writing. So that would be the Tanakh, right? The Torah, Nebi'im, Ketubim, the Tanakh, Old Testament. And the Brit HaKadashah, renewed covenant, or what they call New Testament. Actually, and I'll get into this later down the line. According to Luke 21, 20 through 24, verse 24, when Yahushua says the time of the Gentiles, I believe that the three Abrahamic religions are connected to the times of the Gentile white supremacy religions, because I believe that Christianity is a Greco-Roman, Greek and Roman, Islam is white Arab, and Judaism is white Europeans, right? But it doesn't focus on these two biblical covenantal statuses. I'm gonna get into that. All right. So anyway, from my studies, perspective, and worldview, I now believe that there are only what I coin the two biblical covenantal statuses. One, descendants of Yaakov, Yisrael, right, by lineage. And two, those of the nations who joined themselves to Yahweh, Yah, right? And that's from the sons of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So if you are of the sons, we call it B'nai HaNekar, sons of the foreigners, sons of the strangers. Those of the nations who joined themselves to Yahweh. So there's two covenantal two biblical covenantal statuses. One, descendants of Yaakov, Yisrael, by lineage. And then two, those of the nations who joined themselves to Yahweh, Yah. Disclaimer, I am not a part of any Hebrew Israelite camp, congregation, etc. So this is my personal stance. I strive to represent us as a nation and not a religion. All right. So I identify myself as one, children of Yisrael. This is in the scripture 662 times. How you say children of Yisrael is B'nai Yisrael, right? Noah had three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? And we come from Shem. So Hebrews and Israelites are Shemitic. 3, Israel sits on the African tectonic plate and is considered in Northeast Africa, right? So I believe and proclaim that Hebrews Israelites are Northeast Shemitic Africans, what I coin NESA, N-E-S-A, Northeast Shemitic Africans. So when you put my identity together, it reveals Bysa, which is B'nai Israel Shemitic African, right? Which means B'nai Israel Shemitic African. But I believe that so-called African Americans who we brought here as slaves, who was brought here as slaves in the transatlantic slave holocaust, TASH, that's what I coined that, transatlantic slave holocaust, TASH, is Bysa. So some of us identify ourselves as FBA, Foundational Black Americans. So I do believe that Bysa, B'nai Israel Shemitic Africans, is Foundational Black Americans, what we call so-called African Americans, right? Black Negroes, right? So my worldview and stance, you can say I put it under Bysa, B'nai Israel Shemitic African. So anything I say and represent is under Uziyahu, which is my name, Uziyahu Ben Yehuda, Uziyahu HaMelech, right? That's my artist name. And Bysa, right? So anything I say and represent is under Uziyahu Ben Yehuda, aka Uziyahu HaMelech, and Bysa, because I am not a part of any of the three Abrahamic religions, and I'm not a part of any Hebrew Israelite camp congregation, because I view us as a nation and not a religion. So my worldview is going to differ and be set apart from the three Abrahamic religions, and also some of the mainstream Israelite camps, congregation, etc. So what I am saying doesn't represent or speak for all Israelites or Hebrews, just those who are in agreement of this worldview I am presenting, those who also identify and represent Bysa. All right. 3, here is a small overview of what Bysa's stance is. We believe that there are 2 biblical covenantal statuses. 1, Yisrael by lineage, right? B'nai Israel, the children of Israel. 2, those of the nations who are engrafted and join themselves to Yahweh and accept as the Messiah his son, Yehoshua HaMashiach, in Romans 11. Because of the 2 biblical covenantal statuses, therefore the 3 Abrahamic religions, it doesn't align with our worldview. Because 1, it says one law to the Yehudim or the Judeans, right? The Jews, Judah, and one law to the Gentiles. Exodus 12:49, Leviticus 24:22, and Numbers 15 through 16, right? Yehoshua, the Messiah, told his Israelite disciples, his Judean apostles, to go out and to make disciples, students of the nation. So, you know, you have a lot of religions. They're trying to recruit Black people. They're trying to recruit FBA. They're trying to recruit Bysa into their either Catholic or many of the 45,000 of the Protestant denominations, or even non-denominational. But all those things, that's not a part of our worldview, because there's one law for the Yehudim, and one law to the Gentiles, right? So Yehoshua the Messiah told his Israelite disciples, apostles, which was Israelites, which was Hebrews, which was Shemitic, which was Judeans, what we would call Jews or Judeans from Judah, right? From the tribe of Judah. He told these Israelites to go out and make disciples, students of the nations, according to the teachings. You know, Matit Yahu, right? Gift of Yah, Matit Yahu 28:18 through 20. So replacement theology and the Roman Catholic Imperial Church and its Protestant offshoot denominations and even non-denominations, it doesn't replace the nation of biblical Israel and what the Messiah instructed us to do. Isaiah 56:6 is where you will see the term in Hebrew, B'nai HaNekar, which means sons of the foreigners, sons of the strangers, right? Isaiah 56:6, it says, also the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yahweh. So they join themselves to Yahweh to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, all who guard the Shabbat, right? Friday night to Sunday night, right? Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, and not profane it, and hold fast to my covenant. Isaiah 56 describes those of the nations engrafted and joined to Yisrael, Yahweh, Yahoshua, Shabbat, etc. But this is not talking about the three Abrahamic religions that actually reject the name of Yah and Yahoshua. They reject the Shabbat, right? They want to replace Israel. They don't even want to accept who Israel is, that they are melanated, that they are, that the 12 tribes is melanated, that they was mistaken for as Ethiopians, as Canaanites, and as Egyptians, and they were black or with hue or melanated. Most of the religions are whitewashed and white supremacy, right? But these people in Isaiah 56, they don't have this problem, because you're going to start seeing videos. You're going to start seeing people who are white, who are African, Asian, Arab, whatever, and they're coming out and confessing and saying that the true children of Israel, B'nai Israel, and the majority of them was melanated, was black, right? And they're starting to confess that the so-called FBA, Foundational Black Americans, African Americans, us who are in America, which I coined and call us as Bysa, that we are the children of Israel, right? That we are the Hebrews, we are the Israelites, we are the Asiatics, the Afro-Asiatics, we are the Habiru, right? So this is not talking about the three Abrahamic religions, because they're trying to replace, they're trying to control. Romans 11 doesn't say that. It says you are the wild olive branch that's engrafted into this tree, this olive tree, which is the roots is holy. And it says some of the branches fell off, so you can be engrafted in. But Yah can also restore and put back together those natural olive branches back into the tree that it belongs to. So it was telling the Gentiles who are joining, because they used to be enemies of Yah. They used to be enemies of Israel. You know what I'm saying? They had their own pagan ways. So, it's just telling you to humble yourself. Right? But check this out, because this is not talking about the three Abrahamic religions that actually reject these things. This also shows that the true Hebrew Israelites and Yahweh and Yahoshua is not racist. 4, check it out. Now, check this out. Ezekiel 47, 21 through 23, because I know in Revelation, right, it talks about the 12 gates that represents the 12 tribes and us going into the kingdom of Yah. But then the question is, where is the people of the nations, where they're going? What gate will they go through? And this is what, and I believe this Ezekiel 47 kind of open up our eyes and reveals what's going on. Because remember, there's no gate for the Greek or for the Roman or for the Ethiopian or for the Egyptian, or for the Orthodox and all these different religions. There's no gate that's called Christian. There's no gate that's called Islam. There's no gate that's called Judaism. There's no Catholic gate. There's no Protestant gate. There's no non-denominational gate. See, if you're doing replacement theology, you're going to be deceived, because then you have to come back to Revelation, and this Messiah that you say who you follow is from the tribe of Judah, of Yehuda. He's an Israelite, and he's coming back to gather and save his people that were scattered to the four corners of the earth. And the 12 pillars represents the 12 apostles, and the 12 gates represents the 12 tribes of Israel. So you still, in the end result, you're going to have to deal with Israel. So how can you replace them? But then you have to still, which gate are you going through? All right. But check out how wonderful Yah is, and the mercy and the love and the consideration. That's why if any Hebrew, if anybody's teaching against this, I don't speak for that. I don't, that doesn't represent Bysa, right? Okay. It says, and you shall divide, Ezekiel 47, 21 through 23. 21, and you shall divide this land amongst yourselves according to the tribes of Israel. That's 12 tribes. And it shall be that you divide it up by lot as an inheritance for yourselves and for the strangers who sojourn in your midst and who bear children among you. And they shall be to you as native born among the children of Israel. With you, they have an inheritance in the midst of the tribes of Israel. And it shall be that in whatever tribe the stranger sojourns, there you give him his inheritance, declares the Master Yahweh. So let's think about this. If you have Bnei HaNakar dwelling amongst Yehuda, and then in Revelation, it talks about going into the kingdom when we get our portion, our inheritance, all those nations who's dwelling amongst the tribe of Yehuda will be going into the gate of Yehuda. All the foreigners and the strangers, right? And we're supposed to treat them as our brother, as our sister, as the native born, because it's one law for the Yehudim and the Goyim for the Gentile. So you can't be like, oh, well, y'all do Shabbat Friday night, Saturday night, but we do Sunday. No. Or y'all do Friday night to Saturday, but we do Friday. Or we do, no, that's not, no. It's one law. And they're engrafted into the natural branch, the natural olive tree. They are getting inheritance. We treat them as native born, so it's one law. All right. So in conclusion, Bysa is not racist. We don't follow the three Abrahamic religions. We believe that there are only two biblical covenantal statuses, not religion, etc. We accept those of the nations from Ham, Shem, and Japheth who truly join Yahweh and engraft themselves into Yisrael, the natural olive branch. Also, we believe that the true nation of Yisrael was in Joel 3:6, sold to the sons of Yawan. Yawan is the Greeks. The sons of one of the sons of Yawan is Kittim, and Kittim is known to be the Romans. So when you say the Greco-Roman, Greece is the father and Roman is the son, and Christianity is a Greco-Roman, right? And you have European, you have white supremacy, right? But it says Israel, who is mistaken for as Ethiopians, Egyptians, and Canaanites, right? Who married Egyptians, Ethiopians, and Canaanites, right? We have children and we mix with them and we look like them. They look like us, right? The Cushites, right? So you know we're melanated. Moses was mistaken for as an Egyptian. Shaul, Paul was mistaken for as an Egyptian. The Messiah, he blended in with the Egyptians. Come on, y'all. All right. So in conclusion, also, we believe that the true nation of Israel was in Joel 3:6 sold to the sons of Yawan in the transatlantic slave holocaust and brought to America. And we have been here since 1619 to 2019, which today is 407 years and counting. Genesis 15:13 states, Genesis 15:13, and he said to Abram or Abraham, know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them slavery. And they shall afflict them for 400 years. That is Bysa, which is FBA in America. So this is not all, but I hope it brings some clarity to my biblical stance and worldview as it is evolving and being refined. Hallelujah. All praises to Yah in his son Yahoshua's name. Amen. So going forth with Bysa Zedekiah Da, right? Bysa Zedekiah Nation. because Bysa TZEDAKAH, he dies like the ministry. Bysa TZEDAKAH nation is who we are. So you have Bysa, B'nai Israel, Shemitic African. TZEDAKAH means righteousness. Edah means gathering people or like congregation, right? All right. So we only believe that there are two biblical covenantal statuses, not religions. So we don't believe, and we're not Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, right? We don't follow Christianity. We don't follow Islam. We don't follow Judaism. And we definitely don't subscribe to replacement theology. And we definitely don't subscribe to the Roman imperial takeover, church takeover, and anti-Shemitic, anti-Hebrew, right? Anti-Israelite, anti-Yehuda, anti-12 tribes of Israel, anti-Black. We don't deal with that. Because if you read Luke 21, 20 through 24, it also, with Joel 3:6, so Genesis 10, 1 through 5, Joel 3, 1 through 8, and then Luke 21, 20 through 24, these three things, if you read that, it lets you know who Israel is. And then with Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, those four different categories of scriptures, if you put that together, look at history, and then you'll see that it's talking about us. And just a quick recap, Rome fell, I think, in 476 AD, and then the offshoot nations of Rome was the same nations that participated in the transatlantic slave Holocaust. And then Israel, we was amalgamated throughout the Hamitic nations of Africa. We fled to West Africa, and then so you have these Hebrews now who are amalgamated with the West Africans, and then you have the Romans, right, who broke off the offshoot nations, both of them. So it's kind of Rome and Israel again in 1619. And then even if you listen to the Willie Lynch letter, it said Rome would be jealous of this. So the question is, why are they always talking about Rome and the relationship between Rome and Black people? Because it was the Romans and the Israelites in the ancient time. But that's a whole different story. So I hope this is bringing clarity, understanding, open up the eyes, not just for Bysa, not just for so-called African Americans, not just for FBA, Foundational Black Americans, but I hope this open up eyes to white believers who are trying to get the truth and believe the truth, for Asians, for Africans, for Arabs, even Jewish, for Palestinians, those who humble themselves and understand who we are, B'nai Israel, Shemitic African. All right. And they don't have a problem with that. So in conclusion, there's only two biblical covenantal statuses: Bysa, by lineage, the natural olive branch, right? You see that on the left. And then B'nai HaNekar, engrafted, the wild olive branch, right? Ham, Shem, and Japheth, son of the foreigners, Isaiah 56:6. All right, so this is the end. This is so like, comment, share, subscribe to the Bysa channel, the official Bysa TZEDAKAH Edah YouTube channel. And thank you for watching. All right. So, like I said, may Yah bless you, may Yah keep you, may He shine His face upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom.
Yes, I pray, I believe in Yahweh, Elohim, and Yahushua is King. Yes, I pray, 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 I pray 5 times a day, 5 times a day. Yeah.
I'm Afro-Asiatic, yeah. Hebrew Israelite, Shemitic, man, she's Afro-Asiatic. I'm Afro-Asiatic, yeah. Southern, I am Central, but we still have the